This is an Instructor in a Box video seminar. This is from the Note and Note-Taking seminar. And this particular video is how to take notes. Now this is a free video sample of Instructor in a Box style video lessons. So basically this gives you an idea of what we're going to be doing. So what do I want you to know what to do at the end of this lesson is I want you to be able to know the two kinds of note taking. I want you to know what to look for when taking notes in a classroom setting. I want you to have a set of tools to make maximum use of classroom notes. Good. Now, the two kinds of notes are this. One of them are everyday notes. And everyday notes, we'll talk more about those when we get there, but everyday notes, pretty much everybody takes these kinds of notes, and they're there, they're available, and basically everybody uses them. The next one are class notes, and basically, specifically, these are designed for high school, college, and your career. Just because you got out of high school or got out of college doesn't mean that you're not going to be taking class notes or taking any kind of classes. So if you are taking a formal class, then you might want to take notes. And we'll talk more about those when we get to that particular idea. So what are the everyday notes? Everybody takes them. They're all available. They're there. They're the to-dos that you might want to do. So you might have a notebook or some sort of note-taking item so that you can go ahead and get all your to-dos listed and get them done. Another one is project notes. If you're doing any kind of projects, these are the notes that you're taking to deal with that project, to make it a lot easier for doing project notes. Now I use project notes almost extensively because when I do develop these Instructor in a Box courses and seminars, I have to kind of aggregate all my notes into one kind of item, and so I do take an awful lot of project notes, especially research style notes form. Then there's another one that I call notes on readings. Now a lot of people don't do this, and they really should. Is as you are reading on the internet, on the books, or in the magazines, you should be taking notes about what you read. Part of the reason you take notes is to kind of fix it in your mind. Yes, you can read it, and if you're like me, it will stick in your mind forever. But not everybody has a semi-photographic memory. Not everybody has the ability to instantly understand what people are trying to convey via words. And so basically, by taking notes on everything you read, you have a chance to go in and literally remember it later. Remember, the more times that you handle notes, the more times you manipulate them, the more times you retype them or do anything else, the more chances that you have that these things will stick in your head. So whenever you go into a web page on the internet that that has some information that you want to remember, take notes. And we'll talk a little bit later how you can actually take notes by taking the snapshot of that particular web page using some of the other tools. Books are the same way. If you're reading for knowledge, then you should be taking notes on what you read. Now, it doesn't have to be full formal notes like you were doing in college or anything, but why not go ahead and write down some things that basically struck you? If something struck you as being important, why not write it down? That'll help you remember it. It'll also help you if you go ahead and put down the page and where you found it. So you might want to also put a little bibliography of where you found this particular item, this particular note. So that's another reason to go ahead and take notes while you read your books. Magazines are a big issue with me. I love magazines. I like to get them in the mail. I like to read them cover to cover. But on occasion, I'll find that I don't take notes like I should, and I will completely forget where I found something. And I'm like, okay, there was this thing I wanted to do. Where is it? So one of the things I also like to do is to go in and actually take notes on my magazines. And sometimes I find myself doing an awful lot of cutting my magazines apart and actually just going ahead and scanning them into my software so that I can recover them a little bit later. Now understand, I bought the magazine, and this is fair use, is to go ahead and actually put it into electronic format for me to do this. Now I don't sell or give away those ideas, but yes, you should be able to copy any magazines for which you have a subscription or for which you own. If you have that physical copy, you can go ahead and make any scans you want to, as long as they are just one scan per page for you to use in a notebook type software where you can get some information, or where you can do some searching on it. So those are the everyday notes. The next kind of notes that you're going to be taking are those that are used for all classroom situations. And when I mean by all classroom situations, I'm talking about high school, I'm talking about college, I'm talking about seminars in the business world. You're going to be taking notes, and it'd be a good idea to do that. While I'm talking about it, taking notes while you're in a seminar is one of the best ways to make sure you get on the good side of whoever it is that's doing the seminar, especially if it's your boss. If you're taking notes on what he says, it kind of makes a person feel good because they can see that you're interested enough to actually take notes about what he is saying. Now, high school and college and seminar do not really do a very good job of teaching everybody how to take class notes. And the problem that they're not very good about it is that they really don't understand that this is a highly individual thing. Notes about a class are highly individual. It's what you want to remember. It's what you want to deal with. And because of that, there is no system that I can go in and say, do it this way. All I can do is give you ideas about how to accomplish them. And these are the ways I do it. When I was in high school, when I was in college, these are the ways I took notes. And basically, don't lose your skills once you leave college or high school. Keep them around because you will be doing them when you go in and do seminars or even just formal training classes about some of the other ideas. So what is it all about taking class notes? Well, it's actually a process that I've pretty much identified that helps me take notes when I go into a specific class. And one of them is to prepare for the class. Now, I say this an awful lot, and the high schoolers are over there going, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to prepare for the class. Well, guess what, high school and college people? This is your job. This is what you're doing. You are a professional student in high school and in college. You should be taking notes, especially if you're going to college, because you're paying for the privilege. If you're paying for the privilege, man, can you imagine having to pay that instructor on a one-on-one basis? To pay that instructor so that he'd be willing to come in and teach you on a one-on-one basis means that you're going to be paying an upwards of $100 an hour. But you're not paying $100 an hour to go in and do that. You're probably paying way less than that to go to his class. So basically, yes, prepare for the class. Now, what do I mean by preparing? Step number 1 is do the class readings. If your instructor goes in and says to read chapter 1, do it. Read chapter 1 before you go to class. Read chapter 1 before the hour before you have to go to class. In other words, read chapter 1 possibly the same day that it was assigned. And as you do the class readings, take notes on the readings. And if you have to, outline. Some people wonder, well, what should I do when I take notes on my class readings? How should I take notes? Outline what the reading is. If you don't know what notes to take when you're in there doing the class reading, outline it. Do an outline of whatever the reading is. I can't tell you enough that just doing that, sometimes, yes, it might be overkill, but it's better to have an overkill than to have notes that you don't have, so that when you study from the notes for the exam and he comes in and throws a question on you and you're like, crap, where is this? All right. So take notes on the readings, and if you have to, if you've never had this instructor before and you really don't have an idea of what he considers to be important at that point, then go ahead and outline. And in fact, most people go ahead and outline. Read first and then read the book, read through it first. Kind of read through it first. And if you want to, highlight to kind of indicate what are some of the topic sentences that you're going to need to outline. And then go ahead and write that outline out on a separate sheet of paper so that you can come back to it a little bit later on. And also, one of the preparations for class is to get enough sleep. Yes, I understand that maybe there is a